See, I feel like going 3, 2, 1, go is like the perfect way to just completely derail
I
everything.
really
like
like
now,
how you waited until the recording started to comment on 3, 2, 1, go.
yeah, it's because the 3, 2, 1, go like completely shook me. Hey everyone. So I've got some hypothetical questions for you. And we're going to really be digging into that today. It's not just me. We actually all have a bunch of them. And we're not just talking about our typical would you rather breakdown, which we of course are going to be getting into today. We got some really thought provoking options today, but I've been wondering recently. I don't know if you two have heard, but there's a game that has come out somewhat recently. Even by the time that this is aired, it'll be somewhat recently. Um, Assassin's Creed Shadows, and
No, I haven't heard of that.
oh, okay. Well, it has come out, and there's a lot of buzz around it, mostly negative. But the game takes place during feudal Japan.
Wait, isn't that the one where they basically redid Syndicate but Japan style?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the one.
That's probably
the
why
one.
everybody doesn't like it.
Yeah. Well, that's part of it. The other part of it is that they injected DEI cultural politics into it with historically inaccurate hearsay cultural representations in one of the protagonists, but that's neither here nor there.
Okay, well, hold on. There's a lot of misinformation about the types of people that existed in feudal Japan. Even though they were like isolationists, there were still certain individuals of different demographics that lived in feudal Japan. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I just want to know like specifically what we're talking about because I don't want to have to put out a correction.
The character that one of the protagonists is based off of, the Assassin's Creed franchise is wow, this is what a segue. The Assassin's Creed franchise is touting itself for trying to double down on the historical accuracy, and one of the protagonists is in the mythos of the samurai lore. He was a black samurai basically, and he in all of the text and historical documentation that comes from the time period. He was alluded to, I think, in like one document that was considered to be super unreliable, and that's the only sourcing that paints him as of like dark skin. And Ubisoft basically like took that and ran with it and said like, yeah, Black Samurai, it's happening. Like this is definitely.
Are you talking about Yasuke? Yasuke?
Yeah.
My understanding is that's a real thing.
All right, so this is the part where we do a lot of its history. Okay, so this is the part where we do some due diligence, and relative sources will be in the show notes. I think it's a good time to move on because we're going to have the whole podcast be this argument if we don't move on.
It's time for the Humor Highwire.
Anyway,
so yeah,
it got us thinking. Feudal Japan. What would it be
just
like?
Let this go. This is killing me.
Well, a lot of people can't let this go.
We'll talk about it in segment 2.
We have to let it go.
Source says he's real.
We'll talk about it in segment 2. We'll post sources in the show notes. We'll talk about it in segment 2.
We have to let it go.
In segment 2, where we'll be talking about feudal Japan. Oh my gosh, we're going to talk about feudal Japan and some time traveling, if you will. So, but first,
somebody's trying to put a pin in it. And I don't want to put a pin in it.
Look, I've put a python in it, okay? Leave it there. We're going to come back, all right?
Is that Pitten or Python?
I don't know. We're moving on to Would You Rather.
Would you rather?
The transition is done now. Okay. So and that's going to end up being in the edit. We're going to do the whole transition and then me saying that.
You want to bet?
Yeah.
I wonder who's editing this one.
Okay, well, we have, as usual for the segment, 3 Would You Rather questions. Mine's a little dire now that I'm reading it over again, so I'll probably go second, but I don't want to go first. So who wants to go first?
I can go first. So my Would You Rather is a very nice hypothetical here. Okay. Would you rather have fingers that are as thick and long as legs, or legs that are as short and stumpy as fingers?
So
Question is,
So the second option is Mr. Krabs.
Yeah.
And the first option is anatomical hell.
well, now
well,
hold on a minute.
there's some nuance to this. So, follow-up question. Do your hands themselves like elongate out to accommodate the leg size fingers?
However you need to be anatomically to make this happen, it works.
Cool. Then I would choose fingers because I feel like that would make me more useful in the world versus having like 3-inch long legs.
Well, I could think of a couple places where that might even benefit, you or another party.
Having 3-inch long legs.
No, having really long fingers.
Yeah, but they're also the size of legs. So like,
Wait, are they as thick as legs? How?
Yeah, that's what he said.
I specifically said that.
How
so
would
your
you do
your
that?
your anatomy morphs and changes to
So, like,
accommodate. So
okay,
you,
so your
basically,
hand-
you get giant hands where each finger is like 3 feet long,
Well,
or so, like 3 to 4.5 feet long.
here's the image I'm going to put in your head real quick, because I think it's important that we all really think about this. Walking with just your fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Krabs.
No.
That's basically what it is.
The
Have you
other
ever
way.
seen his No.
Yeah. You got your hands. You got your hands down low, and you're moving your fingers to walk.
That is
You'd be really stable.
Oh, people
You would be extremely
love
stable.
to see you, by the way. They'd be so happy to see you. They might even scream in joy.
okay. So what
You'd be
what would you choose, Justin?
So I'm really trying to find a way in my head to make the legs work. I'm really trying to make it happen, but I just can't. I just
Seems
can't
similar
make it.
to my sweet and spicy question. I just asked the
Yeah.
wrong crowd.
I mean, I just can't make it work.
Yeah.
Um,
Mostly because it probably just wouldn't.
I mean,
It's-
what's
it's
the
hell.
what's the bull case for the legs?
I guess
mean,
if
you have-
hate walking.
If you hate walking, if you want to be
Well,
like
there's
impaired,
also-
if you want to make sure that you can't get anywhere very fast.
Well, there are paraplegics that like have to live that way anyway, to a degree. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's doable. There are people that deal with it every single day. But
But
choosing
having
to
leg
do that,
fingers, all right, having leg fingers is like a superpower.
yeah. I mean, you're basically choosing between a disability. It is. It's if you
or
don't have.
flicking so damn hard.
I'm just imagining a giant hand like just obliterating someone's head. It's like
God.
what is it called? The from Super Smash Bros. The Master Hand. It's that.
Yeah.
That's what we're
It's
doing.
worse
It's
than
like-
that because
it's
the
worse than
fingers are
that.
so long and thick, dude. You could, oh man, you could crush people's heads between your fingers.
So I think the obvious choice here for all of us is the leg fingers. So
Yeah.
I
I mean,
think
I
that
can't
settles
stray
that.
from it.
yeah.
You're
All
so
right.
strong.
So
You have to be strong.
yeah.
Yeah.
Where's the
You'd have-
case for you not being strong?
So not only are your hands super strong,
What if they're
but your arms
paraplegic
must
leg
be
fingers?
insane.
Yeah, your arms, dude.
Your arms and shoulders are ridiculous.
You could throw a ball, maybe. That might actually be the hardest part of your day is throwing a ball.
Before you're gonna
Because-
rip your shoulder out of its socket.
Because think about supporting all of that weight.
You know what this makes me
How
think of?
long do your arms have to be?
No, you see,
So
you know,
They
it's
don't
not even,
have to be.
it's
Perform
not about
all the
length.
musculature.
They got to be strong.
So have you guys ever played
Oh my
Sly
god,
Cooper?
they just have to be strong.
Oh, wait. I played a bit of the first one.
Okay, so there's a villain. There's an enemy in Sly Cooper, one of the bosses, where he's a pit bull, and basically his entire like character design is he has giant arms that he does everything with, and his feet just
Mm.
kind of dangle there while he does everything with his arms. That's kind of maybe what would end up happening, because
You're walking with your hands.
Yeah.
For sure.
But anyway, so it's hands down. It's
Hands down, hands up. I mean, whatever angle.
Yeah. So for the next one, do you want to go, Matt, or should I go?
Yeah, I can go. I've got it up on my screen.
Are you sure? Do you want me to be the
No, I
last
can
one?
go.
Okay.
I can go. It's all right.
All right.
I haven't read yours, so.
Oh.
All right. So mine, I feel like something's been missing from our podcast for a while, and it's
Religion.
crime. Nope, it's crime. So my question is, would you rather go to jail for a crime you didn't commit, or someone else go to jail for a crime you committed? And I'm gonna let you guys go first.
How long is the sentence?
Well, it's for a crime. We're gonna say that crime
Yeah, but
is
a crime could be murder and a crime could be theft. Like,
so it's gonna be it's multiple murders.
multiple murders.
Yeah, you're a serial killer essentially.
So it's either you're a serial killer or someone else is a serial killer and you're taking the fall for them. Is that basically
And
what we're going with?
also you're a cannibal. Just not in Nevada.
So hold on. See, here's the issue with the question. Specifically because of the crime that you chose. People who are serial killers are genuinely mentally unstable. Like they are.
We're not talking about them.
No, that's
We're
what
talking
you're
about
talking
you.
Right, which would mean that I would then be mentally unstable. I would not have the same mental or the same cognitive function in the same way as I do now.
But
So
we're pretending you do.
if we're pretending I do and I just randomly decided just to start killing people,
Maybe it was self-defense. But it won't be seen that way in court.
You're just convicted. Like, all the evidence went through and everything, and the court wrongfully convicted you.
Or the other end of that is the evidence is not stacking in your favor. You committed this crime, you did the deed. You killed like 3 people or whatever the number is, but they think it's a different guy. But it was self-defense, and you didn't mean for it to go that way.
so I think personally the ethical thing would to be go to jail. And then while in jail appeal over and over and over again. Because
You're
eventually
in a death penalty state, and they're doing the death penalty immediately.
you just
I'm kicking that goalpost super far, man.
so basically die or have somebody else die.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Die for something you didn't do, or let someone else die for
The
you for
stakes-
something you did
The
do.
stakes at the start of this question versus where we've arrived have exponentially increased.
I protest
right.
against this goalpost move.
No, I love it.
No, because that completely changes the context of the question. That's not like...
Well, we've changed the context of the question. Now answer it. Why don't you answer it at every level of the goalpost?
Because every time the goalpost moves, the context is different.
Yeah, so answer every single step of the way. Tell me your, like, if we
We
went
don't
back
have
to
that
the
much
original.
To answer your original question,
Oh, boring.
depending on the crime, most likely, I would go to jail and then continue to appeal. Because if I really didn't do it and it was somebody else, there will eventually be evidence that proves that. Because nobody can do something like that perfectly. But it takes time sometimes, and it takes really good people to uncover evidence that proves your innocence. And besides, I know that I'm innocent. I know that I didn't do it. So, in a situation like that, that would just have to be good enough.
All right, but out of curiosity,
Nope.
let's say it was death penalty.
Nope. Not answering that.
Out of curiosity, Ian, how corrupt are you?
I am not going to answer that question off the rip like this.
All right, so we can assume.
You can assume nothing.
We can assume. Viewers, listeners, love you both.
Okay,
Let's
if you
go
want
ahead
to,
and
don't
assume-
pressure me. Listen, if you want a real answer, the real answer is going to be the same every time. I don't want anybody to suffer because of something that I did. If I have the same cognitive state that I do now, I would never want somebody to suffer because of something that I did and wrongfully take the blame for something. So even if I didn't do it, I would, if I was faced with this choice, even if I know I didn't do it, I would go to my death with a clear conscience because I know somebody else isn't dying directly because of me.
Yeah, that
Okay.
other person also committed 3 murders at least, so.
There's another piece of nuance, and that's what I was going to bring up, is what if the random crime, because we can't assume what it was in the original context, but let's say that in the original context of the question, because it was random, the other person that did commit was guilty. So while you're taking the fall, whatever the random criminal was is on the loose without repercussion. So if it was a murderer or a pedophile or something of a different nature, they're on the loose and free to commit once again.
Sure. And do you know how many times that happens in the world?
All the time.
All the time.
All the time. All the time.
Here's my rebuttal to that. The answer is, no matter what happens here, the person that committed is still on the loose. And this is a good example of why the justice system is flawed.
Sure, of course the justice system is flawed.
I'm sorry, I couldn't say that. I couldn't say
at-
that and not laugh.
At the base of your question, it's an ethics question. You are basically deciding whether you are going to be responsible for somebody else's suffering, knowing they haven't done anything wrong and you have, or you take the fall for something you know you didn't do, and in that process work towards proving it. Because people are wrongfully convicted all the time. It's not like something that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Well, here's my answer. Because it's really easy. See, it doesn't say go to prison. It doesn't say death penalty or anything.
It says
actually
jail.
just says go to jail.
Go to jail. Yeah.
And jail's really easy. And so my
Have
answer
you ever been
will
to
be
jail?
easy. Jail's easier than prison.
Technically true.
Yeah. So here's my answer. We're going to let someone else go to jail. It's pretty easy. They got it.
Okay, cool. Justin, did you actually answer? I don't remember. I'm sorry.
I would take the jail.
You would take the jail. Okay. I'm going to move on to my question, which it's kind of similar to this, but not. So you guys know I'm a big space nerd. I like astrophysics and stuff like that. So
Right, and that's why we're very excited to announce Neil deGrasse Tyson is going to be on the podcast.
Yeah, we did reach out to him.
We reached out. You guys reached out to him, and we're very thankful for that.
Thank you, guys.
At the time of this recording, none of this has happened.
Don't. Man. That's terrible.
I will not lie. I will not lie.
The immersion.
Okay, well, so I'm a big astrophysics guy. It's one of my special interests. And for you guys' information, there are several theories about how the universe could potentially end, and they're all wildly different from each other. So the question that I have is based on those things, and I can give you some context on like what that would look like based on what you want. So my question is, would you rather watch the universe end or have it end and you never even realize it?
Wait, what does this matter?
It's
this
just a
definitely
question.
matters.
I don't think this matters at all.
It's having the knowledge as a sentient being of watching the universe end versus it just ceasing to exist.
This is like the question, like, would you rather like know how you're gonna die, or like
it's kind of like that, yeah.
Know when you're gonna die, but like slightly. It's like knowing how and when you're gonna die versus not knowing at all. And
so, I mean, I can give you some specific examples if it helps.
I don't think it matters in those instances, because I think I would just rather it end and me not realize it.
So that's your answer then? Like what?
Yeah. Okay. I think it's pretty simple because, there's a saying for this, and it's ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kendrick Lamar. Shout out to Lil Wayne. But I'm just saying, like, sometimes knowing that something is coming, especially when it's like scary or dreadful, is like, it's going to make you all anxious. You're going to be like playing it over in your head, like, oh my God, I can't, it's coming. And it's for me, at least, I definitely would have a better life not knowing it's coming.
Okay. What do you think, Justin?
I would also pick for it to just end without being aware. I am somebody who deals with my own degrees of anxiety and all of that other fun. So I think for me it would be nice to just have everything suddenly be gone.
Okay. So
now hold on. It would be nice to not have that happen also.
No, well, I think I would kind of hope that one day I just suddenly don't wake up.
Wow.
I think I kind of hope that happens.
Oh, see, but here's the thing.
Like, if it were to be...
It's not waking up. It's literally just ceasing to exist. That's what it is.
So viewers, listeners, we'll have the helpline. If you or someone you love has any kind of thoughts similar to what AedanGraef has just expressed, please don't hesitate to reach out to that number.
So to maybe make you feel a little bit better, the option that you guys chose, one of the options is called spatial rip, where essentially, because the universe is still expanding and it's getting faster and faster in its expansion to the point where it's actually moving faster than the speed of light, there is a theory that eventually space-time will not be able to keep up with how fast the universe is expanding, and it will just tear. Like, space-time, the universe will literally just tear and start to unravel, and everything will just start to cease to exist. And because it moves faster than the speed of light, you will never see it coming. It'll just get here and you'll be gone. So that's something. The other one, the one that I would choose, is the heat death of the universe, where everything...
We're choosing a way...
We're choosing which you would rather deal with, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's just two that I picked.
I choose Thanos.
That's not an option for you.
Yeah,
No, it's an option
no,
for me.
I'm picking Thanos too.
That's not something
Theoretically,
I think
there
that's the
could
cool
be.
one.
So theoretically, there could be 6 Infinity Stones and a purple
I
alien
tried to do
guy.
something cool to like slide in some actual information and knowledge to the listeners, and you
But
guys
there
are just
could
going,
be. You can't deny there could be a fucking purple alien guy, and he's
Okay,
out
sure.
here. He's gonna
There is-
snap his
there is
fingers, and
a-
we're all gone. The universe is gone.
In the world of probabilities, yes, there is a larger than zero chance that that is the case, but more than likely, it's not. The other one,
But-
the heat death of the universe is basically when everything in the universe becomes the same exact temperature and there are no more things like stars and planets. That option takes literal like trillions of years. It'd be a ridiculous amount of time. But it would be interesting to see the entire universe go by in that instance and kind of see how it all played out.
All right, so viewers and listeners, if you know anyone who speaks like IanCK here, there is no help for them. He just wants to watch the universe burn, or actually stop burning.
Yeah, get really, really cold and be the same temperature basically everywhere in all of infinity. But not right now. I just want to see it happen over a few 100 trillion years.
Oh, okay. So, all right. Gotcha.
But quite honestly, I don't want that to happen because that means that there's an end and there's no recovery. So I would much rather be like, big bangs and big crunches and doing like this big bounce kind of thing where the universe starts over and over again. That would be my preferred method because that means there's like a contiguous, rebirth cycle, and I'm kind of about that. So I would like that to be the case, but nobody really knows.
According to Big Bang, are we in an expansion or a
We are in an
contraction?
expansion.
Okay.
We are expanding at a faster and faster rate as of right now.
That's interesting because you would think like the theory of gravity says that like
That is
everything should be slowing down.
That is a huge thing that we are trying to figure out right now. The best answer we have right now is dark matter and dark energy, and is literally just called that because we have no idea what it really is.
Could it? All right. So theoretically, could it be another universe pulling on ours?
Maybe. I don't know. But you know what I do know? It's time for our next segment.
So,
It's time for Hypothetical Happenstance.
I already have some adjustments to make on my previous statements.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yasuke was a real individual.
Yeah.
Number one. Number
Yes.
two, he was actually black.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Number three, he was not a samurai.
Well, I think you got to dial that one back, buddy.
No, I mean,
What's your
there's a
source?
lot. National Geographic.
We're gonna put the sources in the show notes.
Literally says that he was the samurai.
Well,
That's the title. Then
this is also
read it.
not the. This is also not the only instance of a foreigner in feudal Japan becoming part of the hierarchy
He wasn't
system.
allowed to. He was.
He was the
No,
only
I'm not gonna get
African
into
and
all of
first
it.
non-Japanese samurai.
Well, there is some conjecture about him being the first, but
Oh.
in any case,
Regardless, it is in fact that
it is a thing.
that Yasuke was a samurai.
Okay. Well, that's not what I was seeing.
I know.
That's not
because
what I heard, man.
You're listening to these guys on the internet.
I'm
And
listening to
they're
these
just
articles.
They're just angry and
All
they
right,
want to
so,
be angry.
so moving away from games, because we like to do that. Moving away from games, we're introducing yet another new segment called Hypothetical Happenstance.
So hypothetically, if there was a black samurai,
Oh my god. Was putting in a gap to make it easier for you to put the transition in.
oh, don't worry, there will be a transition.
Okay, great. So Justin or Matt, explain how this segment is going to work so we can jump into it.
Justin is probably better suited for this one.
I don't think he thinks so.
Sorry, I'm reading.
All right, so the way that this segment is going to work is essentially we're picking a place and at a time period, and we are essentially advocating for ourselves where in that essentially world we would be. So it could be a place in history, it could be a place in science fiction, or it could be a place in like fantasy style fiction or historical fiction. It could be pretty much anything we want it to be. This time we're choosing a place that really existed actually in time, feudal Japan. This, I'm assuming we're choosing the Warring States period.
That's the most fun one.
Okay.
What if I don't know anything about the Warring States?
So the idea behind the segment at large is, where would we be if we were not necessarily like superimposed ourselves into that part of the world or whatever, if we were actually like born into feudal Japan of that time period, where would we be in that world? So who wants to go first?
Well, it can't be the Emperor. That's kind of boring.
Well, that checks out because the Emperor did like virtually nothing at that time. So
Yeah, I can't be that. That's not allowed.
The Emperor, though, was a very important figure in general.
he was,
he was
but he
also
was
the
just
top
a
of the
figurehead.
hierarchy.
It was the shogunates that were.
Yeah, but like if the shoguns still like don't have any power over the Emperor.
Technically speaking. So technically the Emperor in that time didn't own anything.
Yeah.
Like, and the daimyos and the shoguns did, but they still kind of showed deference towards the Emperor because they couldn't be of certain rank unless the Emperor gave them the mandate for it, essentially.
I think we all have to be in this like peasants, craftsmen, merchants tier, right?
I mean,
That's kinda
maybe.
the way it goes. I mean, like, how are you going to be a shogun?
Well, definitely not that. There's no way. So I do have a case to make. I do have a case to make for being in the military hierarchy.
So samurai, or I don't
Yeah.
know about daimyo. Daimyo.
Probably not, but I would make a case to be at some level in the hierarchy of samurai, mostly because if I was born into this world, into this time period, rather, it's not a separate world, but if I was born into this country during this time period, pretty much every male in my family up until this generation has been in the military.
Sure. Yeah.
And the only reason that my generation of kids weren't or haven't been is because those individuals made it so that we could pursue other things and didn't like have to go into the military. But in this particular part of history, being in the military is like the best thing you can possibly be. So having come from a military family, like multi-generational military family, I think it would make sense that I would be somewhere in the military hierarchy. Now, I'm not saying I'm like, a master general or whatever, but I would be carrying a sword around and be training and doing that sort of stuff, I would think.
Why? We're not going back to this. I don't need to.
It's for later. It's
Do
for
you
later.
want me
It's
to
for
like
later.
post all the links? Every single link I can find? Because I will. I will go through and I will post 20 links showing.
I'm going through 20 links right now. It's really bothering me.
That's what I did for Super Serious. There's like 15 links in the show notes for Super Serious.
This is one of those things where like people have just got mad that there was a samurai, that he was black. And they
No,
just
what
wanna
I
be mad
read
about it.
was synonymous though. What I've read everywhere is synonymous, which is that there's one
yeah?
source. There's one source and a picture. That's it.
Justin, where would you exist in feudal Japan?
I would have been one of the lowly peasants. They were all very poor.
They weren't that low.
They were very low.
They weren't that
Um,
low.
They
It
were
depends.
caught. They were caught in the constant crossfire of border changes and
Sure.
these warring shogun territory disputes.
So
I probably-
to be specific, you'd be talking about daimyos. A shogun is like a all-encompassing military leader, like the controller of the entire country. So it's warring daimyos.
Yeah. I would have probably been a farmer, would be my guess, because that's what I think the vast majority of folk were.
Well, that's actually a good pick, honestly.
Yeah.
During that time period, there were like 4 distinct kind of like levels of people. The warrior class was the highest, but the second highest was the farmer, because they're the
Yep.
ones that produce the food and things of that nature. They
They
added.
weren't that low at all. In fact, some say they were well respected.
Well, I mean, sure. If that's what you're going to say about them. They didn't live very, very like super lives, but okay.
All
I
right.
mean, now if you said you were a merchant, that'd be a whole other thing.
Yeah. So let me talk about what I would be, and I'd be a merchant.
No.
Let's talk about what I do for a job.
You do nothing of importance. You give nothing to the world. You take other people's hard work and make filthy money on it.
A bit of a salesperson. Now, although I've got money, let's just say nobody fucking respects me in feudal Japan. Not an ounce. Not an ounce. We were the lowest class in feudal Japan. But you know how I'd offset that? I'd become a criminal.
You realize in a time period and a place where looking at particular people in the wrong way gets your head literally chopped off, you're going to be a criminal.
So again, we'll have a link down below. I won't even make the joke.
A link down below for what? For what?
We're not going to talk about it. So
Talk about
what
what?
we are going to talk about is the merchant class people in feudal Japan and how they were the real lowest of the low. They were the bottom of the totem pole. Peasants, that was royalty. That was royalty.
I mean,
That's all I have to say
peasants
about
peasants is a colloquial term used in most of Europe. I'm not sure the Japanese people of the time like assigned people those things, because there were farmers, artisans, merchants, and then there were the samurai and the daimyos, the warrior class. Those
Not
were
in
the
that
4
order.
major. Yeah, it's warrior class, farmers, artisans, and merchants, I believe. I might be getting farmers and artisans switched, but yeah. Warriors at the top, merchants at the bottom, people who actually grow and make shit in the middle.
Right. And then there were the salespeople. And bottom of the lowest of the low, but god damn did we make money.
When you were allowed to.
Yeah, that's correct. When we were allowed to. We also, am I wrong? Did we have the heaviest taxes?
I believe that is the case, yes.
Yeah.
It was
the most
basically
rice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, I think it's koku was the kind of standard currency-esque thing that they used. It was essentially like enough rice to feed a family for a year was like a standard of income, I think. I could be wrong about that, but man, I'm just adding to the links in the show notes to corroborate what we're saying. But yeah, I do believe that the merchant class was the most heavily taxed because they were viewed as people who didn't produce anything. They didn't give anything valuable to the world. All they did was take things that other people created and sell them for profit, which was not highly looked on in that time. In fact, for a lot of Japan's history, doing things of that nature was not highly looked upon. It's only now that they've been infected with capitalism that they think those things are good.
Yeah. And so I would be a merchant. But also a criminal.
Criminal merchant.
Criminal merchant. Yep.
Well,
Making lots of money.
hopefully you don't get caught because it was really bad for you.
I'm gonna move
when you
away
did.
once I make enough.
Well,
There is
hopefully
no
you're
moving
in
away.
the-
I'm gonna
yeah,
move
hopefully
away.
you were in the right time period because
You're gonna move away to where?
they
I'm gonna move
they also
away.
didn't let you. They also didn't let you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hop on a boat.
No, you
Did I-
literally couldn't do that.
You can try.
I'm gonna do it. I'm a criminal.
I mean, if
No,
you're gonna
I'm
go
gonna
and
do it.
if you're gonna go
There
to war,
were no boats.
if you're
There
gonna go
were
to
no
war in
boats
Korea
out.
or China, maybe.
I can buy
Yeah,
one. I
maybe
can buy,
Korea,
I can buy the
China,
wood for one.
Or the Danish. Like you could
Maybe
go
hire
one of
a
those
criminal
three.
artisan. I'll hire a criminal artisan to make me a nice boat, and I'll sail away.
You can go to one of their 3 permitted trade people if you're
I
really
won't
lucky.
be doing that. I'm a criminal. I'll go wherever I
No,
want.
I mean those were the only boats.
I'm going to buy a boat from an artisan. You
it
don't
was
understand.
the Portuguese, by the
They're
way.
gonna make me a
No, the
boat.
Portuguese got banned.
Well, they did eventually, but I thought the Portuguese were the initial.
You're right. No, wait. The time period you're talking about was pre-Portuguese. It was like
Oh.
It was a stage before Portuguese.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. It's so hard to remember with their history because there was times when they were like, "Yeah, let's trade stuff," and then they were like, the hell with all of you except for that
Yeah.
one guy, and just in this one city."
Yeah, so I'm gonna be a criminal. I'm gonna hire a criminal to make me a boat because I've got money, and
Maybe.
I'm gonna leave. I'm a merchant. I'm gonna
Yeah,
have money.
Okay, just because you're a merchant doesn't mean you make money. There are people that open up storefronts every day in a capitalist society, and then they close down 6 months
I'm
later.
gonna be one of the good ones.
Okay.
I know how good I am at sales, so I'm gonna be one of the good ones.
I'm
Yeah.
going to, on my farm, not read about you because I won't be able to read.
That's right.
And I'm gonna,
I don't think that
I'm
I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know how literate the populace was, but
I don't either. I'm taking a semi-educated guess. And then I'm going to go and tend my irrigated rice field, and yeah, I mean that's what I'm gonna do.
you could have also been a fisherman.
Yeah, I could have done that. Then I
fact,
could
you
have the
might do
cool
both.
hat. I probably did do both. Then I could have the cool hat.
Okay, so if you guys think this was accurate at all, if you have some problems with anything that we said in this particular segment, if you think that one of us is just blowing smoke and we're completely off base of where we think we would be, send us an email, drop a comment, let us know. We want to hear from you.
True. And tell us about Yasuke, the samurai.
He was a
There was
vassal.
also-
He was
There
a
was
vassal.
also, well, of
He
course.
was actually a retainer,
yeah.
which is a samurai.
There was also
vassal.
there was also an Englishman who was named Hatamoto, which is like a retainer for a high level daimyo. So it's not unheard of. It's highly rare that it happens, but it did happen.
Yeah, I mean, some historians said it was possible, but a lot of them have spoken
lot of
out,
them.
and I mean, several of them have spoken out and
What were their
advised
names?
caution. It's in the article that I put on Discord.
Single article, yeah.
They had names. They had names of Japanese historians.
Well, I actually looked at that article and I didn't see
Okay.
any names of
Well,
any
they're at the bottom.
historians.
They're at the bottom.
Any listeners out there
And
that
it was
have
written by a professor of modern Japanese literature at Arizona State University.
I don't know.
any listeners out there that have corroborating sources for or against Yasuke, please send them to us and we'll argue about it again.
We won't. We're gonna forget this ever happened, but
I'm not
I'm not
forgetting
going
this
to.
ever happened. I'm sticking to this.
I'm sure you are.
Well, in that case, I think this is a good point to end our episode. I hope you guys enjoyed, and hope you have a good rest of your time of day, week, whatever it is for you.
Robert Tuck represent.
I don't know what that is. Okay, bye.